Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Arcane Assist. I'm Tim, joined this week by Pete, and we're recording at the Sorscha3's studio here, home of Not Snakes Gaming, which is another channel that does a lot of War Machine videos. If you haven't checked them out before, we've posted a link in the comments below. Feel free to pause this, watch all of their amazing content, then come back and finish this video.
Awesome.
I'm playing Sorscha3 in Armored Core, and Pete, you're playing...
I'm playing Brisbane 1, or Siege,
as all the cool kids like to call him.
Exactly.
We'll go over the list quite quickly. I think Sorscha is a really great Armored Core caster. I think there's other places where she can be played, and we can talk about that at the end here. But I'm just, the first time we've had her on the channel, I figured I'd want to play her in Armored Core. She's got a really neat kit, and because of it, I play really like a sort of budget battle group with her. I've got 2 Berserkers and 2 Marauders. For a mercenary choice, I took Sylys, who is pretty key, gives her an upkeep on Iron Flesh, which helps her be really efficient with her focus, and gives her extra range on things like Stoke the Flames, and gives her some key assassination threat opportunities. I'm playing 2 free suppression tankers and 2 paid-for strike tankers. I've got 1 Manowar Kovnik, a max unit of Manowar Demo Corps, and then their attachment, Dragos, who is also free in the theme. I've got Manowar Shock Troopers with a Manowar Shock Trooper officer, a Tanos Arkonovich with his standard buddy, and then 2 minimum units of Battle Mechaniks. Gives me a bunch of advanced moves. I really dig this list. It's a lot of fun. You'll see why in a sec.
Absolutely. So I'm playing Brisbane 1 in heavy metal. What I'm trying to do is capitalize on basically his feet and his toolbox. I'm kind of on a journey right now with Siege. And I want to try to get that 100 game so I can fully understand what he does. This is going to be game number 24 for me, so I've been enjoying his play. And this is really kind of the kind of matchup that he looks forward to, in which it's a lot of armor that we can do some work into. So my list is Brisbane 1. We have a Squire for free. Triumphant Lancer is his battle group. We're going to bring 2 Stormstriders. Captain Arlan Strangewayes, who will be free. Caine with Ace and a Minuteman under him. And then we have Jakes with a Minuteman, Harlan Versh, and a min unit of Mechaniks. Interesting story about Harlan Versh. I accidentally forgot him. We just got done with the Boker Brawl. I forgot him. When I entered my list in the Conflict Chamber, I accidentally put in Runewood. And I'm seriously debating going back to that, because having Pathfinder and the ability to stand up things is an interesting line of play that people don't see. So we're still on the fence between, because I like Versh as a flag sitter with stealth. So we're on the fence here about that. So
interesting tweaking options though. Like heavy metal's got some really cool tools. I've actually played Victor Pendrake in it too. Like that interesting flex slot is pretty cool.
Yeah. So yep, that's a list.
All right, so without further ado, we'll jump right into it. So, we rolled off here, and Pete won the die roll.
Yep.
Do you want to talk to us about the choice there, Pete?
Yeah, so I wanted to go first because I want to get in a good position to be able to apply my feet. I really didn't think too much about tables because the table is really open. The way we do setup is we roll a d6 on a 1-2. On a 1 through 4, there's something in the middle. On a 5-6, there's not.
Like a line of sight blocking.
Yeah, line of sight blocking.
Because 2 out of the 3 recommended Steamroller setup styles have a line of sight blocking piece in the middle, and 1/3 of them don't. We actually do the same thing on Arcane Assist, but I never mention it. And then someone always is like, "Where's the line of sight blocking piece of terrain?" And then they get mad or whatever. But this is a good system. It's probably a good thing to address.
Yeah. So the only thing I did out of respect to that obstruction that is in between the 2 zones closest to the frame is I put a Lancer in there to go take that zone.
Makes sense. I did pick this side because of the placement of that obstruction. I felt like it could create a flank that I could really bunker down on pretty effectively. I threw a proxy base up on that hill. That's where Sorscha can move with a Wind Rush. She could actually get advanced move in this theme, and I feel like there's some matchups where you'd want to do that. But here I kind of want to use the Shock Troopers to sort of screen and protect her a little bit, and we'll talk about their placement in a second. I placed the 2 Marauders within 8 inches of her so they can both get Stoke the Flames in the first turn. I tuck Sylys just behind her, and I put the Shock Troopers more or less just around her. Demo Corps come up pretty centrally, but they're behind a line of tankers. I'm hoping I can deliver Demo Corps behind a bunch of tankers, make use of the higher armor 21 to let Demo Corps kind of end up charging through them and dealing with hard targets. That's their role on the list. They're definitely the most fragile, but the hardest hitting pieces once they get there, so I like them quite a bit. I'm playing Dragos fairly far back because granted vengeance means if he gets killed, they don't get to make vengeance attacks.
Okay, absolutely.
And then I'm playing the Berserkers within 12, but not necessarily in Stoke the Flames range. I'm not probably going to Stoke the Flames in them on the first turn. I'm going to put up Iron Flesh instead. And then I've got a Kovnik who has just enough space to fit between the Jack and the Shock Troopers I put in there. And a unit of battle mechanics who are just kind of going to be following up the line here. It's more or less a huge central brick, and I'm hoping I can just keep it wide enough to be relevant in all the places.
Yep, so Minutemen, there's really nothing too special about where they're going to go. They're just going to be harassing units.
You kind of have that one available to come around the objective if he has the opportunity.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I have 5 advanced moves.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Kind of cool. You really do need it in the Man of War theme to stay like relevant on a lot of scenarios. You really want to come up and be super aggressive. I move up 3 of the tankers, so that's 2 strike tankers and 1 suppression tanker. I feel like the strike tankers are more important in this matchup because they can do those 3 dice damage armor piercing shots to the Storm Striders, and while they can still be repaired, puts them in a bit of a more awkward situation. My objective is healing, and Pete took...
I took repair.
Sorry, you took healing, I took Pathfinder.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Because I think you were looking at that forest right across the way from...
Well, we had to actually choose the objectives before sides were determined.
Okay.
So I was like, if I'm on this side, Pathfinder might be useful to dig deep into the forest, but if I'm on the other side, I want, the big ball of rough terrain, the rubble there, maybe getting into the forest on the other side. Like, there's a couple of places that I felt it could be useful.
So we're into my activation. I really didn't allocate... No, I didn't allocate anything. It's a pretty clockwork kind of first turn here. All we're doing is we're keeping our battle engines outside of 16 from your strike tanker so that we don't take shots unnecessary. We're going to find a good place to put down a foxhole, and Siege is pretty much going to live in there. So we're going to go ahead and put that down, and we're going to get a charge off the strike tank, or one of the tankers directly across from us. Caine 0 is going to come up and put Fire for Effect on Siege, and then Repo back behind that.
Repo theme benefit's pretty dope.
It is really, really nice. So then Caine's Minuteman is going to come forward. So this was just a little bit of a misplay for me. I was trying to protect my Lancer, but I should have put him someplace else. Only because as soon as I moved him there, I looked at it and I said, that's not a good place, but we're going, so just keep going. Mechaniks come up, and then basically Jakes puts Sidekick on her Minuteman, and he goes and lives in the trench so that he's a def... 20?
Yeah,
def 20.
That's terrifying.
Pretty good. I'm getting a little bit aggressive with Triumph. I'm not really too concerned about what could get at him. So he comes up in the zone. And really, we're just getting set up. We're putting everything where we want it to be. That is Arlan Strangewayes, and pass the turn.
And I think you got Versh right below the top Storm Starter
Yeah.
there. Yeah, he's got stealth even on the camera because he sort of blends in with the table he's on, I think. So we activate the Kovnik, Desperate Pace the Shock Trooper unit, and the Shock Trooper unit advance and do Shield Wall. I mentioned this to Pete. It's a little bit difficult to see on the camera. The front 3 are in a triangle sufficient so they're not touching where that proxy base is. So they create like a little bit of a fork. So if Pete slams the very front guy, it's not going to knock down Sorscha as well. They're steady and sturdy so that they're there, but Sorscha is not, so she needs to play a little cautious around Force Hammer vectors. He'd have to go really, really wide to the other one clipper, so I don't think Siege can really get to that spot, which is what I check here when making this measurement. She wind rushes and then advances, so she's in range there. Takes just like a goofy, I've got a gun, so I might as well shoot something shot at the def 20 Minuteman. Minute person, minute jack, whatever.
Yeah.
She misses him. It's fine. It deviates somewhere wild.
It's like to the 5 or...
Yeah, it goes 5 inches to the 5. Hits nothing important. That's fine. She's got Windrush out, Iron Flesh up, and she stoked the flames on both of the jacks that I talked about measuring the distances to. So she spends her whole stack. I'm playing her pretty aggressive here. But I think it's kind of cute. She's only def 12 on her card. But while on the hill, she goes to def 14. With Windrush, she goes to def 16, and she provides a constant aura of concealment for friendly faction models in 9. So she's actually def 18 right now.
Yeah. And I believe at this point I do ask what you're camping. And
yeah, and I'm like, nothing. Do it.
So some of the tools we have, and I don't think there's anything really. You're just keeping your jacks in control, but I've got Shadowfire, so I'm thinking long and hard about Shadowfiring that lead man of war and then going all out. So you're gonna see me pull out a huge base template. Here we go. I'm gonna start doing math.
Yeah, it's like, so you're really not that high defense. I'm like, well, these things. You're like, well, some stuff I've got can ignore concealment, and ground pounder ignores, and like you'd start like the numbers start flying.
Yeah, so I do all the math of what I can get to you, and it looks like I leave you on 4 boxes, 4 or 5 boxes if everything works out exactly perfectly.
And at that point in the math, I think you're not really calculating the hit rolls. Right?
No, I'm not considering the hit rolls at all.
And then when I start giving you the defense numbers, you're like, okay, well, some stuff ignores a bunch of that. And then you're like, well, not all of it. And there's still some like a couple of 6s and then some unboosted higher rolls.
Yeah, so ground pounder is going to ignore the elevation and the concealment.
Yep.
But that's it.
It's 14, but it's boosted.
Yep, it's boosted. But then everything else that I have that could shoot you, I mean, I could get a with the
Stormstrider?
Yes, Stormstrider. I'm gonna get a +2, but I'm an 8. You're an 18. It's not good. Just we wave off of it. So instead, we're gonna go ahead and look to see if I can kill a bunch of stuff on my feet turn. So we have our Sentry Fire.
Usually when I wave my hands over the camera, it means I'm supposed to comment on something. I don't remember what it was.
Oh.
Nope, nothing important this round. Yeah, everybody moved up. I give tough to Sorsha because when you start doing the math, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. So I give her tough. So there, now you've got even a lower chance.
So Triumph did a sentry shot into one of the strike tankers because I need to get those gone. They can't touch my battle engines. So I think we are reconfirming one last time if I can go for it.
Yeah, you're doing more math. We're talking about it. It's like it's one of those tempting kind of moments. And what I've tried to do here is to present an aggressive enough stance that maybe you decide to go for the assassination. And if you do go for the assassination, I feel like you probably fail.
Yeah.
And then I eat your feet, and I eat a huge turn of attrition work, and I'm very advantaged.
And we did talk about that a lot of how, and I kept saying that. I was like, I'm going to go for it. If I go for it, I just end up failing, and you just win. So
instead, you make what I think is probably the better play, which is to just feet and do a ton of attrition work to the front line here. And I've given you a lot of targets. Like you've got opportunities here.
So we did pull one from the
Squire.
From the Squire. I allocated a couple from Jakes's Minuteman to Jakes's Minuteman. We upkept all of our spells, so we have Sidekick on a Minuteman from Jakes. We have Fire for Effect on Siege1 from Caine 0, and we have Siege's Foxhole up.
And I think Caine gave one to a Minuteman too. Like
yeah, we did because I want to go up and we want to get as much work as possible on this. So I pull out my Bulker Brawl feat token, showing that Siege has feated. We go ahead and advance up just enough so that I can get as deep in.
I think the Berserker at the edge of the sort of zone there was kind of the thing you were thinking about, making sure you got in the feet range.
And my other consideration is I didn't want to present an opportunity for your Demolition Corps to vengeance into me.
Yeah, if the Demo Corps are in the feet, they can get to you, but if they're out of the feet, they can't. So I think your goal is just kill every Demo Corps member who's in the feet.
So now we're doing a Fire for Effect Ground Pounder.
It's 3 tankers and 3 Demo Corps.
And thanks to the way the rules are listed, we go ahead and get fully boosted on all of these attacks because they're all simultaneous.
It's also the name of a podcast, which is actually a pretty decent podcast.
We try our best. So yeah, we're just doing work on all these guys. The Demo Corps are going to be dice +5. So if I hit you, I kill you.
Yeah, even if it's dice +4, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because POW 14, their armor 8, dice +6. Yeah, you just kill them. Yeah, you kill them automatically at dice +6. At dice +5, you don't, because they do have 8 boxes.
Mm-hmm. So right now we have your 1 suppression tanker and 2 strike tankers, and we're pulling off a lot of your Demo Corps. So 3 Demo Corps disappeared. We've already taken off a strike tanker.
Hindsight 2020, maybe you should have just given tough to the Demo Corps this time.
Probably, yeah. And I probably a mini feat would have been good too. So you
Yeah,
could
the
have
mini
spread that
feat definitely
damage.
would have been good. It's not so like the problem is when you're doing like dice +2 damage rolls to them. Like the first one takes 16, and then like I can't like so you've got problems like that.
Yeah.
I don't think the mini feat would have actually saved them at all here.
So Ace is going, and he goes ahead and shoots a guy and trick shots into one of the mechanics.
Yep. Killing my mechanics.
So right now, I think all you have left is Dragovich off that unit. No.
I got one more guy.
Correct.
One guy and Dragovich, and he's actually I think just in the feat. He's maybe the last guys, and Dragovich is actually out of the feat.
So before we, so Strangewayes comes up and gives that Minuteman one last focus. You are kind enough to remind me that you do have countercharge up for your battle group.
Stoke the flames
So
on that Marauder.
we move the Minuteman up, and then he is going to go ahead and spend one to leap. And I just want to make sure I can get within range.
Yeah, you get within 4 inches of the last tanker up there. There's another suppression here. You're kind of hanging back a little bit, but you just you're killing the last one of the zone here, and you hit it and you boost damage here. It has already taken a feat damage roll, but you managed to finish it off because you only had 2 boxes left.
Correct. And then I think we're just going to follow up with another shot.
I think you put this one into a shock trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like,
So-
what's the
so
armor on a shock trooper?
Shield walled, iron fleshed, with feet. You're still armor 15.
Yeah, so I'm 17, goes down to 9, and then +4 from shield balls, 13, +2 from iron flesh is 15.
Yeah.
So pretty good, and immune to blast damage.
It is, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get the charge off, I think.
No, you want to stay a little further out of
Oh,
the
correct,
Marauder's
because
threat.
of the counter charge. So this is only bottom of 2.
So you don't need to be in the zone yet. You shoot this Marauder a bunch. At this point, we talk a little bit about the Pathfinder he has and like has access to with the objective and a couple of other things. And I think you decide that it's fine to just focus on crippling him.
Yeah, because I was doing all of my math based off of your base stats, which is interesting.
Yeah, so you're like, you can get to me if you charge with Pathfinder, but you can't if you don't charge. That's not strictly true because I'm within 7 inches, and if I stoke the flames on him, I can walk 6 and get into 1
Well,
inch.
yeah,
now.
so I take your movement out.
You do, yes.
yeah,
So
that's-
once the movement outs, you're like, okay, well, that's basically fine. We also, the lightning generators, the closest model is the objective. They can leap to it, but they can't damage it yet.
Correct.
But then if he gets a 2 for a lightning generator, he can leap to the Berserker. He does not actually end up getting a 2 in any of those shots.
Yeah, so we're just doing work right now.
The Marauder's pretty messed up.
Yep, Marauder, and we get a lot of damage on the Berserker, I believe, too. No, I
'cause the
double
units
shot. That's
don't
right.
end up going into there.
Yep, we double tap. So here comes my Caine Minuteman, Minute Person. Jumps into the zone, takes some shots at this Marauder.
Yeah, it jumps in so he doesn't trigger countercharge.
Look at all that red. I took half with one shot.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Siege's feat's pretty decent, people.
And then we take another column. So you're sitting on, I think you're left on 10.
Yeah, that Marauder's pretty messed up right now. Don't worry, it's fine.
So here comes the Lancer. Again, I really, if we could go back in time, I wouldn't put the Lancer there.
Yeah? You feel like you misplay the Lancer here?
Only because he's in the list because Siege is always on a mountain of focus because of Fire for Effect. And I should be sending him off doing things.
Like having Force Hammer work and stuff?
Yeah. So if we were to replay this game, Jake's comes down south towards the bottom of the screen, and her the 2 Minutemen live in this zone. That's how I would replay it.
Right. And you have the Lancer up top to do work.
Yeah. Because your Warjacks don't want to be force hammered, and I'm not going to have to boost to hit them. So yeah, our second battle engine is just coming in and doing work. We're shooting things.
Yeah, you kill a Shock Trooper model and you leap into another one, and I think you roll an 8 for damage to do like 3 boxes to him.
Yeah, so I've effectively I've shot everything that is in my feet that matters.
And you've killed almost everything in your feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty impressive. Don't turn the video off though. KHADOR's still in the game.
Oh yeah, no.
We're not done yet. Definitely have to get cute though. That's for sure.
Yep, still just wrapping up our attacks. So,
So that was a shot into the last Demo Corps member, which killed him, and leapt into a Tanovich, not a Tanovich, Dragos, and did 3 points of damage to him.
yep. So Versh goes and hops in the trench to contest the far zone, or your zone. And then we're bringing up Mechaniks to be able to repair the Lancer who's going to take damage. I just know it's going to happen, and to be able to contest the zone if possible, because they are def 14, which isn't too bad.
So, my turn. Dragos makes his vengeance move. Nobody's in range to attack, but he's in a position to do some more work. Initially, I'm planning out this turn, and I forget that the Minuteman there is sidekicked.
Yes.
So he's actually def 16. So I kind of make a bit of a plan around doing work against him that involves a couple of shots that are a bit dicier than I'd given credit for. So right now, I'm making my plan. I allocate 2 to the Marauder. Power up the Berserker, power up the other Marauder, power up the Berserker, and that's sufficient. And I see that I can walk 6 and be within an inch of the Stormstrider. I don't actually think very hard about this line of play, because allocating a bunch to that Marauder when he's just going to get pushed back half an inch is probably a mistake. So while Pete might not have anticipated me being able to stoke the flames and get him in there despite everything, I'm probably overcommitting a little bit to that line of play. Having said that, it's about to get real cute in here, so just watch. So Sorscha is going to cast Wind Rush, and I'm going to proxy this out because it gets a little weird, but I want to be within Stoke the Flames range of the Juggernaut. And then the Minuteman is a half-inch melee, and I have a 2-inch melee, so I'm just going to go engage him with the Wind Rush move.
Yeah, because I remind you about Witch Hunter. And you remind me that you're going to be def 18.
20.
20. Oh, even better. Even better.
With Wind Rush, she goes from a 12 to a 14. Concealment all the time takes her to a 16, and engaged in melee takes her to a 20. So I'm like, yeah, make your shot, Versh. Do what you're worst. So this is a Wind Rush 4 inches, charge 7 inches, and get into melee of a Minuteman over here. So it's pretty cool. I think this whole line of play is really neat.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
The Wind Rush costs 2, the Stoke the Flames cost 1. She's on 1 camp when she's done doing this. Initially, I'm like, I'll boost to hit the Minuteman in the zone, and I'll maybe crit smite him into the Hunter, and like that'll really help me do a bunch of work in this zone. And I just sort of do bad math on that line of play and decide not to, and that was a mistake. That's okay. It's really my first time playing the list, and I'm really excited about it.
No, it was I was really impressed with the things that she could do.
Yeah, she can get up there and do real work. This is the point in time where I mentioned that I'm going to feed this turn, and I'm going to sort of bolster off this zone a little bit.
And I acknowledge that you're feeding.
Yeah, and I think we talk. I'm not sure if Sorsha activates first or not. I might activate the demo core first, but we'll see in a sec. I spent a bunch of time in the control phase step really making the plan happen.
Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, you say I feel that it's a feat turn. I say yeah, it's a feat turn. And you go yeah, it's absolutely a feat turn. So at that point, I feel like yeah, you're feeding no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, I really debate what to do with this Marauder. This Marauder who's up here is really in the way of the Shock Troopers getting charges in on either the Minuteman or the objective. They kind of maybe want to assault the Lancer. And I opt eventually to decide to just pull the Marauder back and heal him with Mechaniks. So she Wind Rushes, she stokes the flames, she charges in.
I elect not to Witch Hunter.
Deciding you maybe don't want even the chance of hitting the Minuteman in the back. So, charge attack. And this is the point where I'm like, oh, maybe I won't boost to hit and it'll be fine. And that's a mistake because this guy's def 14 and I'm only a 7. So I missed the charge attack and I'm like, okay, I just wasted myself a damage boost. Buy an attack, roll a 7 on the second one, hits him, he's frozen. Not even a crit, just freeze, which is kind of a cool rule on her weapon.
Yeah, really nice.
POW 16 does, I think, 6 points of damage to him.
Yep. And then you're sitting on nothing.
She's there, and then I'm like, okay, I feed here, and I've got to place a bunch of clouds. But then I get really excited and move immediately to a Marauder activation. And we just like totally forget about it, don't even acknowledge it. But when we come back to it, Pete's like, oh no, you were quite unambiguous about feeding there. Please put the clouds down. I'm like, oh, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, please do. So we do it. So I position the Marauder here so that when he gets bumped back an inch, he'll have Arlan in his melee range.
Yeah, that's
and
really...
Pete's like, that's a little, are you sure about that? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm walking, so do you mind if I just change my facing like this? And he's like, yes, of course. So we do that. I boost damage on a combo smite and roll a little bit embarrassingly low. But then I boost to hit a shot on Arlan.
Yeah, this is where we verified.
This is where we just corrected for that. And then I boosted an attack on Arlan, which actually ends up being, I think, in his back arc. Or no, not in his back arc.
No,
because
not
he's
his back
facing.
arc.
But I hit him and aced him anyway.
Yep, you turn him to paste.
So he's got Stoke the Flames up, which means he's got countercharge right now. He's not engaged by the Storm Strider, so maybe that makes his order of activations or positioning a little bit harder. That zone's not in a great spot, and I acknowledge it. The Marauder's pretty chipped up. I think he's got 17 boxes left. The Berserker's more or less fine, but he doesn't have anything useful he can do this turn, and he's going to definitely be out of control because I need to put another contesting model there. So,
I think
Good,
you're
not
taking
great.
a hand cannon shot at the... Yeah. Hand cannon... No, you're doing...
Suppression Tanker?
Suppression Tanker, yeah. I think
Yeah,
you
the
rolled
Suppression Tanker aimed,
4.
generated 5 shots on
Yeah.
its 2d3, and then is just taking shots of that Def 16 Minuteman.
Dice off 5, right?
Yeah, it needs 8s to hit, but dice off 5, it got some chip damage in. And then I'm like, I could get a Tanovich hand cannon shot in here. Is that the right move? I'm like just sort of debating what I can get in. There's a bunch of weird places where you've got Rat 6 in this list, so aiming can take you to 8s. But still, just needing 8s is not like the ideal line of play. And then we
fix
remember the feat thing. I roll the dice for them and then I place them. My goal here is to place nothing in concealment, but to create bubbles where it's hard for mechanics to walk into them, and then to place clouds down here to block line of sight to this side of the board.
Yeah, and we even talk about how correcting it, there's nothing that would impact what has already occurred.
Yeah, nothing would have drawn line of sight that couldn't draw line of sight here. Sorsha was feeding from her second placement of location, so this all looks fine for distances. Hindsight 2020, what I should have done is place the clouds a little bit differently, like enough that a small base couldn't fit between them, but with lots of gaps on the bottom side next to the objective.
Oh, yep.
So place one so it's like just a mechanic can't quite fit between this cloud and the objective, and then just a mechanic can't quite fit between this cloud and this cloud, and like keep doing that and staggering them further out. Because I probably could have gotten almost 3 more inches out of them.
We did one little fix just to
fix that concealment issue.
Yeah.
So the objective's not concealed, the hunter's not concealed. Or Lancer's not concealed. We charge in Drago, who needs an 8. I think he
does some work.
he hits his charge attack by fortune and takes out movement and then kills on the second mission. So he's kind of a boss over here. He's the only demo core member left, so he's got to get some work done, make up for his friends.
I did ask if you wanted a mini feed at this point.
Yeah, I opted not to mini feed because there's no one else alive. Mechanics, I get 2 of them in on the dinged up Berserker. Oh no, you did a lot of work to this Berserker.
I did, yeah.
So it was Triumph's damage shot, right?
And we had an E-leap that went in.
Yeah, one of the a lightning generator hit the objective and bounced 1 more time. Yeah, he took a fair bit.
Because that was straight dice on.
Yeah,
no, that was less.
No, it was dice +1.
Yeah, on feat turn. Yep.
Yeah. So he got healed up for a bit. He's functional, but still pretty dinged up, and he's in the zone now. Not that he couldn't get Thunderbolted out of the zone. I probably should have dug him a little deeper into it, or put the rough terrain behind him. Maybe even put him in the cover. So, I'm in an awkward spot here because I think I want to get a whole bunch of work done, but I don't think I've got quite enough tools to get the work I want done. Sorsha's right up in the mix there, and what I'd like to do is to kill a Minuteman and a Hunter. And if I crit smited there by just boosting that back, maybe I've got room for these shock troopers to get on and everything.
Wait, Lancer.
Pardon me.
Lancer.
Yeah. Lancer and Minuteman. I don't have room to place a shock trooper next to the Minuteman and still have melee range to the Lancer. So I basically just accept that the Lancer is going to live this turn, and I assault all of the shock troopers. 2 of them on the objective, 2 of them on the Minuteman, and am I down to 4 shock troopers this turn? Is there one more somewhere there?
I killed 1 on feat turn.
Yeah, sorry, did you kill 2 on the feat turn? No, I've got 3 on the Minuteman and 2 on the...
Yes.
Yep. No, sorry, I got 1 on the Lancer or something like that. Anyway, we check this, and the assault shot misses, and then the charge attack does too. And I miss 1 of the assault shots on the objective, which is a little bit awkward.
Yep. So you're going through doing work. So right at this point is when I wished I had the second Minuteman kind of hanging back because I would have been able to walk him up, leap over, and then shoot you all. You know, shoot two of them in the back. I may have even gotten a pretty good. Oh no, I'm so flak field wouldn't have mattered. But at least I could feel easier. So.
Huh, select field blast damage. Neat. Sylys gets in the mix and he charges the frozen.
Yeah, that was really good.
And kills him. Just dead. He was only on a couple of boxes, but people's like, oh, maybe I can shake. Maybe I can do some work here. And nope. Yep. He's dead.
Sylys.
No healing cortexes and with the objective and getting work done with that Minuteman. The Lancer is almost entirely untouched, and the objective is actually on at this point. I think 9 boxes.
Yeah, it's kind of low.
So I didn't do maybe as much work as I'd hoped. I did pull, as I mentioned before, the Marauder back and healed a couple points with it. Mechaniks heal D3, and then the theme benefit gives them +1, so they actually heal D3 +1. So that's 5 points of healing.
I think you give them tough.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna move a Tanovich up and shoot the objective, and then I'm like, wait a second, they are almost definitely not speed 5, and I realized they're speed 4 and pulled them back a little bit. So they don't do any damage to the objective, but they give tough to the shock troopers.
And we pass a turn, and you score 1 from
in the top zone.
Top zone.
Yeah, don't score anything in the bottom zone. I was hoping to get to 3. But that probably would have required the crit smite play. It would have required just a little bit of a different plan for this turn, and I wasn't quite clicking with it.
Yep. So you just saw me Sentry Fire from Triumph, Son of Hammers, Strangewayes. So we go ahead and tough him.
Yeah, he dies, but he's base tough, which is kind of a cool rule for a UA to have. He toughs, but he's knocked down, so it costs Pete 1 more attack somewhere else.
Yep. And I go ahead and make sure that you don't have faint death or anything. Anything out, so
you're safe. Men of War they rely on their boxes and their armor to keep them alive.
So I go ahead and heal the objective. The objective heals himself, so we get a couple points back.
Yeah, actually goes from 9 to 12. I think at this point you're back to 12 boxes, which is almost untouched. Which is too bad for eating 2 shock trooper charges.
So we go pull another focus from the Squire. I'm feeling okay where I'm at. We're gonna go ahead and fully load the Lancer because I know he's not gonna do a lot of work, but any work I can do in this zone closer to me is gonna prevent it from collapsing on your turn.
Well, and you want to do work on these guys when they're not shield walled.
Exactly.
Because they're very, very hard to kill at arm 21, and much easier to kill when they're arm 19. Or sorry, 19. 21, 23?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, they have a lot of armor.
So right now we're just going through figuring everything out. I think I did a really good job this game of like just talking through everything.
Yeah, you were really methodical with your approach, and you had some good lines of play, definitely evidencing some good siege experience. So, at this point we're talking about, where's this charge? Does this give me a vector to trick shot some damage rolls somewhere?
Because Sorsha is sitting on 0 again. And I'm like, okay, she's not on the hill, so this feels a little bit better. We can maybe do a ground pounder, maybe
now
get a triumph shot.
16.
So, yeah, we're just working through everything. We still have the same spells up. Because we have Sidekick on a Minuteman. We've got a Foxhole. So all that's done. Our battle engine charges the Marauder.
Yep.
We get a really good charge, I believe.
The Marauder's pretty messed up anyway, so it probably doesn't take a ton of resources to finish. You do some good damage on the charge attack.
Yeah.
Don't quite take it out, but it's on like 3 now, I think. And then I believe you have to shoot the objective?
Yeah, I go ahead and make a play to shoot the objective.
Yeah, that's probably the right thing. You hit, boost damage.
Lightning sparks. Yeah, because I wanted to shoot the objective to be able to bounce into your Mechaniks if possible.
Yeah, so you do a couple points to the Berserker and a couple more points to the objective. You actually leave the objective after 2 boosted shots on like 3 or 4 boxes, which
that
was a little underwhelming.
Little disappointing.
Yeah, you're expecting to do like 16 damage to it, leave alive. I mean, it's not outrageously low.
Okay, so Jake's charges in.
Yeah, you're hoping to, I think...
I was hoping to kill it and then sprint away so I could use her as a contesting piece later. So the charge does 1 point.
Yep.
Her second melee attack doesn't do anything.
You boost and do nothing, and then she buys and boosts and does
leave you on one.
Leaves you on one box, and then you're like, endure on 11? No,
couldn't
no
do
luck. So she's kind of stuck there, and I'm looking at that and being like, oh my god, does my objective and a Marauder survive? That's kind of cool. And then you're like, no, Triumph is dual attack. He's going to kill both of them. And I'm like, that's probably right.
Yeah, so Strangewayes comes up, gives Triumph a focus. Focus goes ahead and charges in with that focus. We smack you with the shield.
It's only POW 14, but again, I'm on one box.
Boosted, I need a 7 to kill you.
Kills
so
me.
That's done.
Just got the extra focus at this point.
So then we shoot the objective.
Damage automatically boosted from the bond. Kills the objective.
And I go ahead and score it now, even though it's supposed to score it at the end of the turn.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right now I'm contesting that zone, but you may have a plan for that.
So Ace comes up and goes ahead and thunderbolts the tanker.
Yeah.
So
no crit, but
Yep.
sorry, that's a Berserker. But
Yeah,
you
Berserker.
do boost damage and you put some more points into it. The Berserker's pretty roughed up right now. Certainly not loving life.
So we're gonna be up a point in theory. So I'm pretty comfortable with this. So now we're looking at a possible. We're doing a ground pounder off of Siege.
So you get Sorsha and the Berserker here.
Everything is boosted again from
I think
Fire
you get
for
an
Effect.
arm off the Berserker.
Yeah.
Fire for Effect on Siege is really strong.
So I clip Sorsha, but not
do
as
3
much.
or 4
Yeah, we
points
do
damage, something like that?
do a couple.
Yeah, she's pretty tanky. She's arm 18.
So we go and charge with the battle engine.
Yeah.
So this is where. Is this a yeah? So I E-leap. It's mandatory.
Yeah, so lightning generators are mandatory. I didn't realize that. And you E-leap off the
Berserker.
Yep.
Into Triumph and then into Caine.
Yeah, and Caine takes 2 damage or something
I
like that?
believe that's what's happening.
Yeah, you reduced the focus and took 2 points of damage, something like that.
So then we.
Or no, I'm sorry. You E-leapt into Jake's, right? Yeah, Caine's still back.
Oh yeah, into
you E-leapt
Jake's.
into Jake's, and you just rolled a 10 and killed her.
Correct. We killed Jake's.
Yeah, so you just straight up killed Jake's. Now her Minuteman was already dead, but like killing Jake's here was not probably what you wanted
No,
to happen.
because she's now a combat solo and she can contest.
Yeah.
Which, you don't want to give away contesting pieces for free.
But you do have to follow rules. So these are shots now that you're taking with dual attack into the Berserker. You actually finish killing the Berserker and you wipe out a mechanic. So I'm down, in terms of contesting pieces over there, I'm down to just 1 suppression tanker
Yeah.
who has to run to get into the zone.
So I don't see a good way of getting that Berserker that is sitting in between the 2 zones. Sorsha isn't a worry about that zone. Because, and of course, I already activated Siege, so I couldn't take this zone anyway for points. So the Lancer.
Well, you could have run the mechanics around.
I could have, yeah.
But you can't kill that Berserker this turn. It's pretty healthy, even after the ground pound.
So the Lancer is giving it the best that he can give. He's hitting guys with shields, he's stabbing them, and we're not doing much, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's even boosting damage. He stays down 6, and he's done a few points. And then that guy, he was hitting a guy who'd already taken 3 damage, finally killed him to the box, and that guy rolls his tough check. And because they're steady sturdy, he's not knocked down at all. So that's a little tough no knockdown.
Yep. So the Mechaniks are trying to get in a position so that they can contest, and then we put 2 in the zone to contest, and I'm trying to be as annoying as possible with them. And then I have the other 2 in a position so that they can run in next turn to contest, and I'm trying not to make them attractive for you to engage, so that we can have 2 turns of contesting. And then I score 1 for that top zone. So it's 2-1. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yep. So I upkeep Iron Flesh for free. Sorsha gets 6. Windrush comes down. And I get to power up the Berserker and the Marauder. And I debate my line of play here for a moment and eventually decide that what I should do is allocate 2 to this Berserker, which I do. Allocating Berserkers, it's a dangerous game.
And let's do a quick clock check. I have 20 minutes. You have 25.
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a clock advantage, but going second and having a 5-minute clock advantage means if I have a 5-minute turn here, we're at parity, which is unlikely. So I look at a couple of different options, and I decide that I want to kill a Stormstrider this turn. The flanking Warjack. So a Tanis actually just runs, so does his standard. I had room to charge. If I charge, though, I get pushed back an inch, and I'm no longer providing flank, so I don't charge with him. I just run.
And then you run your last suppression in the zone up north.
The Berserker advances and tucks into behind a Tanis.
I really like this play. This
is pretty cute.
This is
and
really
Pete's
good.
like, it's a Berserker, gonna kill a giant Stormstrider. And I'm like, haha, flank time, boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, crippled arm, misses. Big arm, hits. Past 16 is dice -3. And Pete's like, why are you rolling 3 dice? And I do 10 damage. Yeah, flank. Buys an attack. And crazy cranks it again. Does a whole bunch of damage.
Oh, so much red.
And then crazy cranks it again, does a ton of damage. Kills, I was like, I didn't even use all my focus. I checked the rule, and now to not blow up, I have to roll a 3-up, which I do.
Yep.
So he's fine. That was unexpected, but not unwelcome. So now I have to kill 2 mechanics and the objective, plus a lancer. Now that's not great, for obvious reasons. I get the Kovnik up. He takes a shot. I decide I don't need Desperate Pace this turn. He shoots, rolls a 7. He's a 6 of 13, misses the mechanic. They're 14s, which is really good, especially for contesting pieces.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, okay, Sorscha can probably kill one with a spell. She boosts it attack roll and freezes a guy. Maybe she just has to hard roll the attack roll, and I boost it the Gobber. And then I put 2 attempts at a 7 on the other Gobber, and that should probably do it. Maybe I get it on the first one, and I can still make 1 attack on the objective. I'm now consigning myself to probably not killing the objective this turn, but at least starting to remove Pete's contesting pieces. Puts me in a rough spot scenario-wise. I really wanted to get the scenario parity this turn, and I probably won't. So Sylys advances, gives Arcane Secrets to Sorscha. Sorscha advances to just within 2 inches. She boosted an attack on the Lancer, and freezes him.
And you do 2 points of damage.
And yeah, I do a couple of points. Not much. Again, he's dice -4. She considers her options, and she casts Icy Spell at this guy, clips him. I'm looking for an 8 there, and I figure the Signs of Importance 8 is good enough that I want to freeze the Lancer with the boost, so I boosted him. I also figured maybe I get a crit smite and I just send him out of the zone, because at the vector I'm at, he would go out of the zone, and then I can dedicate all of my Shock Troopers to killing the objective, and that'll give me 2 points this turn. I move my Shock Troopers sufficient to block a little bit of line of sight to Sorscha, make it just a little bit harder, so she's hiding kind of behind that objective and a couple other pieces. Again, she's ending the turn on 0 camps, so just the brave and the bold. The 1 Shock Trooper to get that line of sight blocking position had to back out of range. So they're in shield wall now, and they're in pretty good position. I got 2 cracks at the... I just do damage to the Lancer. And then 2 cracks at the 7. The second one hits. I kill a mechanic there. And then I take a gunshot on the objective.
Yep. And you miss.
And I miss.
Woohoo.
Yep. That happens. So now I've got the Marauder, who was healed up a whole bunch. Hindsight 2020, should have probably activated the mechanic unit before running the Marauder up, and they could have healed him to full, but they're up into position. They heal him for another 5 points.
Oh yeah, you could have gotten all of them on there.
Yeah. That's okay. He's creating a bigger wall to sort of protect Sorscha here. And he's contesting the zone. The 2 Shock Troopers are contesting the zone. The Lancer's not dead, but he's frozen, and I think just limiting his resource allocation keeps him pretty good.
So past turn, no one scores. I take my sentry shot at the tanker. I fail to break armor.
Yeah.
We're allocating focus. I take my last one from the Squire. I'm sorry, we're replenishing focus, and then we do power-ups, and I take my last one from the Squire. So I'm just working through what my goals are this turn. I want to get rid of that strike tanker, and I decide, instead of going in for the charge, I want to ensure that he's out of the zone. So I think we're planning to do a Thunderbolt shot first. And then we're going to start working on your assets that are in the circular zone.
Yeah, this is the turn that if Pete can have a pretty big turn, I'm in real trouble. Because he has a slight clock lead based on the number of turns that are being played. He has a slight scenario lead, but a really good positioning lead. And the thing that I was supposed to do this turn, which was score out and close to 3, lock him out of my zone, I have done neither of those things. So maybe next turn I can kill the objective, the Lancer, and the 2 mechanics he'll probably contest with. But maybe I can't. And if that's the case, I'm in real trouble.
And then the other frustrating thing is Sorsha is sitting there on 0 again.
She's a boss. Like, I mean, I'm doing things to protect her. Like, I'm blocking line of sight with her. I put Windrush up in a couple of relevant places. I'm making good use of, like, my defense is hard enough that it makes it awkward, and my armor is pretty strong. And I've even taken a couple of points with her. But she's tough. And as long as you play her conservatively, you can play her hard.
Yep. So Ace did his Thunderbolt. We failed a knockdown, but we did push you out of the zone, which was great. And now our Storm Strider is going to get the charge in. And I want to put him in a place where I can charge, but still have line of sight to the southern area here so that we can get some damage in there.
Yeah, so your charge vector gives you, like, I think you've got an opening on the Berserker too. Like, you can shoot a bunch of stuff.
So I didn't figure I would kill you with the charge, but I did get a pretty good damage crank on there, which I was really happy with.
Dice down 8. He hadn't taken any points yet, but you still, like, you put him on, I think he's on 3 or 4 boxes now.
Yep.
Pretty good. And you take a couple of shots. You actually miss the Berserker on one of these shots, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, because you had concealment, right?
He has concealment from Sorsha's, it's got a weird name. It's like Hand of Wintry Love or something bizarre like that. Storm's Embrace. I wasn't far off. Yeah, while in this model's command range, friendly faction models get concealment. And Berserker's being base F11, going up to 13, like that's suddenly a relevant value against some guns.
So this turn we did drop the Foxhole, and I just now finally removed it. Oh gosh. Hopefully the dog isn't in here.
If it is, it's fine.
So Triumph is shooting something. So this is where we get a little cute.
Yeah, this is dirty, and I like it. The mechanics advance up, and they actually just repair the objective.
So one repairs the objective, one repairs the Lancer.
Yeah, so I think at this point, Pete's basically decided that the stickiest things available for him in the zone are going to be even stickier, so thanks.
So we get the objective all the way back up to full or 14?
Yeah, it's
either way.
Yeah, it's 14 or 15. Either way, I've done basically nothing to it. And the Lancer comes in, and he just tries to make some attacks on Sorsha, and I think he does another 3 points of damage to her. Nothing on the shield, because she's only def 12 this turn. She didn't do anything fancy against melee attacks. No Windrush.
So we're doing a ground pounder.
And ground pound you shall. That Berserker is not very happy right now. And we talk a little bit about, like, killing the mechanics that could get to the Berserker, or like doing some work there. And you decide to move up Caine, I think.
I'm really debating on moving Siege in, because I'm trying to think if I can get the zone. So this.
Oh no, sorry. Did you ground pound or did you move? Oh no, this is Arlan now.
Yeah, this is Arlan.
Siege moved and ground pounded. I think you were pretty sure you couldn't get the zone.
No,
there's 2 shock troopers in there, and they're armed 23 right now.
This is Arlan. We're trying to go for the crit disruption on the 2 warjacks.
Yep. You ignore the concealment. You hit both of them. You crit neither of them. Damage-wise, I think you actually put a point into the Berserker. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
No, he's got, like, again, that disruption spray can do a lot of work. Just fishing for the crit is a bit tough, but...
Yeah, that was kind of a Hail Mary play.
He's there. He's in not a terrible spot.
So Caine is going to go.
You're trick-shotting to kill mechanics, I think, to keep that Berserker relevant. So you shoot the Marauder, you kill a mechanic, and I'm like, the other one, if I move the Marauder first, could get in. Do you want to trick-shot and kill him? And you decide that you probably do.
So I want to really keep Caine safe after this. So we're still debating what to do here. So we got to go do another trick shot, try to kill off your mechanics. And then we Spirit Door.
Super cool spell. Let's Caine teleport like on the other side of Ace. You're still contesting the zone. I think you're in the trench. You're pretty freaking safe here.
So now we're just verifying where I can go, and we score 1, passing the turn.
So I'm definitely in a tough spot. Down 2 points on scenario. He had scored the far zone twice and killed the objective. The middle zone is still very hotly contested, and I don't have any tools to kill Triumph. I am, however, in a position if I walk the Berserker 6 inches to maybe kill Ace and Arlan, which would be pretty good. So I think about that. It requires, obviously, a Stoke the Flames play. I don't have any mechanics that can get in there, so I still have a crippled arm. But his Cortex and his right arm are still good.
Yeah, it is.
His movement's out, so I couldn't charge there if I wanted to. And I look over here and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to run the Standard Bearer to be in range to contest next turn. And I'm going to run a Thanos to a position where I can provide flank against these 2 models. Because, again, that Berserker going in the flank does a ton of work. Because needing 6s at Ace instead of needing 8s at Ace is really effective.
Yeah, it's such a force multiplier for your Warjacks.
So Sorscha, who is only on 4 because she allocated 2, she cast Soak the Flames, and then she cast a... I can't even remember. She doesn't have Horfrost. She has something else. It's a different spell.
Yeah, it's an
It's
AoE.
called Winter's Wrath. So she casts Winter's Wrath at the objective, Arcane Secrets, does a couple of points to the objective, and kills both mechanics.
Yep.
So that was tight. Finally clearing some of those models off.
So I should have repoed the mechanics away from the objective. But to be honest, that play that you did was not in my
It was not in
mind
your,
at all.
your catalog. The Strike Tanker walks base to base and in the rough terrain with the Stormstrider, so it gets pushed half an inch, then half an inch. It can make its second attack at half an inch range, and it's still in the zone in the rough terrain.
Yeah, those things are mat 7 for some reason.
Yeah, it hit both of its attacks, and I was like, okay, can I do some incidental damage to the Stormstrider? I didn't, but, the positioning was good. The
Berserker goes in.
So the Berserker goes in, and it makes its first attack on Arlan with the 1 die. Does 5 damage to him, but doesn't kill him. Second attack does kill him, and berserks into Ace.
Yeah, that was really good.
Hits Ace, and does some damage to him. Hits him again, does some damage. Not a ton of boxes. Buys an attack, hits Ace, and cranks the damage. Kills Ace, and again, doesn't blow up.
Yep.
Go
Very
Berserkers. He didn't spend his whole stack of focus. I mean, I gave him all the focus just in case he needed it, but not needing it was really useful. Now the flanking Marauder is going to go in and try to kill this Lancer, which he does without needing to make very many attacks.
Poor Lancer.
Mechanics move up, and the 2 mechanics that remain heal him for 5 more points. So this Marauder, remember, was almost dead and is now, I think, at like 24, 25 boxes. Like he's been healed basically up to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and that's why I was trying to take care of them, because that was my fear, was that all the work that I did, you were just going to erase. So
I managed to do a couple of points with a Kovnik shot to the objective, and then we're going to have the Shock Trooper unit advance and shield wall. Or pardon me, I opt to assault instead. They assault kind of at awkward angles, like in a couple different directions. I really need this objective to die, and I think I lose the game if I don't kill it. So these are assault shots that I'm making. Do a pretty decent number of points damage with the assault shots and actually kill it with the assault shots. So it turns out I would have killed it with the melee attacks, but better to not commit to that and be safe. I equalize the scenario because I contest Pete's zone and I score 2 points myself.
Yep. So we shoot. What's his name?
Sentry shot at Atanovich. You've got dual attack. You kill him in basically in melee.
Yeah, I apologize for the finger guns. I flashed some finger guns.
Oh, that's. I think when you're CYGNAR, you have to flash something.
Yeah.
I think it's actually part of the faction identity.
I'm better than that.
Better than CYGNAR. Heard it
All
here
right.
first.
So what are we doing? We are going to try to maximize this turn. I definitely feel like I can score 2 pretty easily, and contesting your zone is the hard part. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our battle engine onto your Berserker.
No, this is on the Strike Tanker. I think.
The Strike Tanker. Okay.
So you take the melee attack of the Strike Tanker, you boost damage. He doesn't have very many boxes left, so he dies to the melee attack now. and then you take gun shots at the Berserker, who's now out of the concealment range.
Correct.
And you do pretty good work with the guns, although one of them, I think, generates E-leaps onto Caine.
Yeah, we kill the flag bearer and from...
Yep.
And so this is where it sucks. So I shoot your Berserker because you're not engaged.
Yep.
We E-leap twice. So we go Triumph, who does nothing, and then we go into Caine. This is dice off 3. We roll 7.
7 damage, and you reduce focus, and you survive on 3 boxes. But you killed the standard bearer, and you killed the Berserker, so you are now in a position to score this middle zone.
So yeah, we have the middle zone. I need to contest your zone.
And you just run Caine in.
Caine, you're the only one that's left, buddy. Sorry.
Just kind of baller.
So I put him up on the hill. Thinking about it, I don't know if I could have walked, shot, and then repoed into position. I didn't even think to measure that. Time is starting to slip away from me.
Yeah, you're I think sub 4 minutes or something. I'm pretty low too. Like we're at pretty similar positions clockwise. You move the Squire up to be in a spot to come contest my zone next turn, and you move Triumph up to take a shot at the Marauder. He hits, and at dice a 5, he does some more damage to the Marauder. Fortunately, to a column he hasn't taken yet. You score 2 points and contest my zone. All right, so we're going to start talking fast here because the turns start getting real quick. I consider a few options. I consider what happens if I try to Winter's Wrath, assassinate you with Sorscha, Wind Rush, charge. Nope, can't do it. Wind Rush, freeze, shoot, like aiming bonus. I can do it. I have to freeze you by hitting Triumph in the trench. Doesn't look great. Once he's frozen, can't shield guard, but then I've spent all of my focus, and I can't boost the damage on a POW 13, dice minus 4, I don't kill you. So I abandoned that assassination plan pretty quickly here. And I think, okay, what else can Sorscha do? And I'm not coming up super hot on her line of play. I think about like Stoke the Flames, run the Marauder, but he's not in range to contest the other zone. So we start with the Covenant. Covenant moves up, and he gives Desperate Pace to the Folks o' War. So the Shock Troopers, they get to go really deep, which is important because I need them to get past this obstruction to be able to attack that mechanic and kind of wall off the zone for me.
Yeah, the Squire. And looking at this...
Squire.
I should have kept him back more because he's speed 12.
Like he can run 12, yeah.
Yeah, he can run 12.
So we make 2 attacks on Caine. The first one was looking for an 8, or pardon me, a 7, and hits him. The second one was looking for an 8 and misses him. I don't kill him. With reducing focus, he actually manages to survive there. So we activate the battle mechanics, who are just blocking the lane for the Marauder. They run to just kind of jam up that central zone. I have no expectation of killing Triumph to score it with them this turn, but I'm going to be there. Marauder moves up, kind of creates a little bit of a wall here, and he uses flank and boosts to hit, and hits and just annihilates Caine.
Yeah, that
Dead
was
Caine.
Unfortunate.
Flank, again, being a super sweet bonus. Pete.
We resolve.
Let's make those attacks on the Squire. Yep. I knew what you were trying to do there. So he's in a good position there. Sorscha could move up and take a shot at Triumph. It's chip damage, but I'm going to take it anyway. She wind rushes into a position where she can be behind the Man of Wars. She's got Arcane Fire, so she can still take that shot. She'll boost to hit the shot. Hits, and she'll boost damage. POW 13 off 20 is off 7 damage. Does, I think, 3 points to him. He hasn't taken almost anything else. Blast damage doesn't do anything to Siege. She's on 1 Sylys runs, and I don't contest Pete's zone, but I do score 2 points myself.
So maintenance shot.
Sorry, 1 point myself.
Yep, maintenance shot on a mechanic. We go ahead and bring our Stormstrider up. We don't allocate any focus. It's going to get really quick here because time is just flying by.
Yeah, you kill the other mechanic who was just in Winter's Wrath range. It takes your second shot to do it. You're in a position to score your own zone now. You look at Ground Pounders. You have to boost now because Caine's dead.
Yeah,
because
Fire for Effect is out. I don't want to go super low on camp because I'm feeling really bad about life. I'm not loving my position. So all I can do to contest...
You actually miss both Shock Troopers because they have cover relative to where you are.
Yep.
Ground Pounder doesn't ignore cover.
Only thing I can do to contest is we don't contest. So
yeah,
we
you're like,
charge.
I could run Triumph, but instead I want to charge because I need to do work against the Shock Trooper.
Yeah.
Shock Trooper at arm 23 survives, I think, on like 4 boxes this turn. Or sorry, no, you do manage to kill the officer. Yeah, you do. Or sorry, no, we do the math wrong. And your shot, I was like, it kills the officer, and then it doesn't actually kill the officer.
Yeah, and that was clutch because that would have put me up 3 points.
You would have scored the zone.
Yeah, so now we're at 7-5, and I think I have 57 seconds left.
Lots of time. So this is bottom 6.
Yep.
So I have to put myself in a position to win the game this turn, which is not by any means a guarantee. I've still got a lot of things to do and a lot of things to figure out. So, and like 4 minutes to do it in. So I think for a couple of seconds, go into the tank. I have no real way to contest Pete's zone this turn, but I might have a way to contest it next turn. So this turn, I need to not lose and score 2 points to be down only 1. So I activate the Marauder, fully loaded. He combo smites into the wall, stays within an inch.
Yeah, that was bad.
Does a bunch of damage to Triumph. Buys an attack, still flanking. Dice down 4, but putting some good work into him with those flank attacks. And on his last attack, he kills Triumph. So we activate the Kovnik, who assault shots the Stormstrider. Again, I have to, over a 2-turn plan, kill the Stormstrider. I actually miss it with the assault shot. And then I run the Shock Troopers. They only run 8 inches, but they run and they just flood this zone. And they fill it with as much garbage as they can. Sylys positions, Sorscha moves up and casts Wind Rush on herself. Iron Flesh is still upkept on those Shock Troopers, so they're armed 19, and they're in the zone just being as obnoxious as they can.
So we charge... I don't have to do anything. I don't have to power up because I already had focus.
Yep.
We go ahead and kill that guy. We E-leap into Siege, but we don't do any damage. We shoot another Shock Trooper. Siege runs, and then because I said I was going to pass a turn. You asked me a question.
Yeah, and I was like, don't worry about it. So theoretically, you clock out at this point, but I was like, you had time. And that was top of 7. So you didn't, you were totally fine. You don't need to play any more turns. So I charge in with the Kovnik, who gets some damage with the assault shot and a little bit of damage on his charge attack.
And yeah, you started with 2 minutes left, so time was really tight on this one.
Yeah, it sure was. So he charges in. Sorscha had upkept Iron Flesh. I look at the Marauder. I charge in, I assault in the Man of Wars, and then I quickly am like, I mispositioned. Do you mind if I move this? Because again, we're getting really tight for time. Pete's like, that's fine. So I assault shot in. They take some assault shots and do a little bit of damage. I don't know why I'm rolling column here. We switched to not rolling column. And on the first charge attack, I end up killing him, and I'm going to move the model back, and Pete's like, no, that guy's dead. You don't move. And then Sorscha casts Stoke the Flames on the Marauder, who is now in a position to run 12 inches and contest the zone. I score 2 points, go to 9-9 on the bottom of 7, and win on Army Points Destroyed.
Yeah, we have to go to Army Points Destroyed, and guess how many Army Points I have left? I have 0. Really, really fun game. I think the MVP for this game was that obstruction in the zone. I think that was the key to your victory.
It was definitely essential. I mean, play the table. Play the table that's presented to you. When you've got the opportunity to pick side, pick the side you think is going to win the game. Having said that, I think Sorscha3 is a really neat caster with a cool kit. Lots of neat tools. Speed 6 KHADOR jacks are insane.
Flank is huge.
Flank is amazing. I mean, that's why I took just garbage jacks. It's not easy to leverage flank super early in the game, but man, does it close the late game.
Yep.
So the Berserkers took a lot of damage, and certainly the pieces took a lot of damage. It would be interesting to play this match with, not half my army melting, but I feel like even in a matchup where maybe I'm disadvantaged, I still think she's got a lot of tools and a lot of game. And it felt really cool to play the long 7-turn game with Sorscha just getting busy and doing work all game.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it again. There was 3 or 4 turns in a row where she is almost in my deployment zone, camping 0, just doing work.
Yeah, she's definitely on your side of the table and just being like, I don't care. I just spend another one to boost. Let's do it. Let's go. Swing that axe.
So, and I think that was a fairly representational of a steamroller matchup.
Yeah.
with your clouds, I definitely see you dropping Sorscha3.
Yep.
And
She makes sense for a CYGNAR drop. I mean, I think Siege is a good answer to a lot of the field. I think he's a really good list to have in your pairing. And I think if you're playing like Siege something else, and I'm playing like Sorscha paired with, like say you're playing, I don't know, is your off-list Haley 3 or something?
yeah.
And you're playing Siege, and I'm playing Armored Core, and I'm playing Winter Guard Command. And I'm like, you're like, well, you don't drop Winter Guard Command because you don't really want to play into my Cloud Wall, and I don't really want to play Haley 3 because I'd like to have some answers to your high armor. Or again, Winter Guard Command is a really good place to drop Siege because he can just e-leap through all kinds of garbage, right?
Yep.
And his Ground Pounder is really effective against that list. So I think overall, you pick the right list in a pairing like that. And I think I also probably picked the right list in a pairing like that. So I think this very well could have occurred like this. I feel like, oh, that's a pairing I kind of want to dodge.
Yeah.
And I'm still feeling like I'm very much in the game. So, standard plugs and stuff, folks. We really appreciate if you're watching this on Patreon, your support. If you're not watching this on Patreon, it's $1 a week, and $4 a month feels pretty reasonable. If you're in a position where you can afford that and you want to support our content, we really appreciate it. And as a result, we give you the video a week early. If you don't, great. We're happy to have you watch on YouTube. Please like it, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment if you've got some feedback, and check out Not Snakes Gaming. We've mentioned it already, but Pete's obviously an incredibly high quality player, and that's the kind of quality of game that you see from them all the time.
Oh, thanks, sir.
They record, I think, Bisama Weekly.
We try to. We try to.
On a regular base, and their back catalog is pretty good. So check out the channel. They're worth subscribing to.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.